Hello, instructors. I wanted to talk to you really quickly about rubrics, grading rubrics. I know most of us use them already, but I discovered how to use them on Blackboard and how to add them to assignments, and it has been life-changing. So I wanted to pass that information off to you. I'm going to share my screen. Now, I'm going to give you a very sort of simple overview. These rubrics can get really detailed and specific, but I'm just going to kind of show you a very simple version of how to add a rubric and how to create a rubric, and then how to sort of use it in an assignment. So if you look over here, I'm just going to get rid of that grade center menu. That was the last video I did. And you'll look at the course tools, okay? All the way at the bottom here, you're going to see something called rubrics, okay? You can open that up, and for this class, I have some other rubrics that I have to import, and I haven't done that yet. So right now I have no rubrics for this class, which means that I want to create a rubric. I'm only going to go really specifically on creating rubrics, and then I'll do, as the semester goes on, do some importing information. But how do we create a rubric? Okay, so let's say I'm creating a rubric for my discussion board, okay, which I already have somewhere, but I will just create a mock one here. Okay, now you can, if you want to, the description is really for your own personal information. So if you want to add a description of what this is, I think this is pretty self-explanatory that a rubric for a discussion board is a discussion board rubric. But if you have, multiple essays and they're called similar things and you want to just add a description, you can do so. And then right here is basically the sort of framework of what the rubric will look like. So it automatically, I don't know why it always does formatting, organization, and grammar as the three most important criteria listed. And then it has 3 boxes for levels of achievement. So it starts at novice and then it goes all the way to proficient. So in my mind, I don't know why I like to have the proficient on the left side and the novice on the right side. And I always use 4 columns. In the case of the discussion board rubric, I don't typically, I use 3, but for all of my essays and things, and even my final exam, I use my final research paper, I use 5 columns. So you can swap these levels of achievement. So if you want to read them the way that I like them, so that little pop-up will just swap them out so that the proficient will be on the left side and the novice is on the right side. You can add up here, you can add a row or add a column. So the first thing, let's say if we want to have a 4 category rubric, we can add a column, okay? So we have proficient, competent, novice. I like to change these names. So you can have proficient. If you want to change a column information, you just click on that little button there and click the edit button. So it says competent, and I want to say meeting standards, let's just say. Okay. And then for novice, I want to write approaching standards. And by the way, this is your language, so you can put whatever you want and however you want. These are your rubrics. You can create them to read however you want them. And then I can say not competent here. Don't ever judge me on my typing skills, okay? So I've set up the top of my rubric, my column titles, which are proficient, meeting standards, approaching standards, and not competent. Again, you can add whatever you want. You can create the columns to read however you want. You want to do 12 columns, you want to do 80 columns, it doesn't matter. It's your rubric, okay? Over here, you have the criteria. So if I want formatting as a criteria, I can leave it as it is, or I can edit it to read, let's say, thesis statement. Okay. Okay, and then I can save that. And let's say I want to leave organization and I want to leave grammar, but I want to add MLA formatting. So I can go back up here and add a row, okay? And then I want to edit my row because it's only going to say new row 4 until I give it a name. So I'm going to put MLA formatting, okay, and save it. And so now I have the perfect rubric, right? What I want to do now is add in those descriptions. So what is my proficient rubric for a thesis statement? Thesis statement, oops, sorry about my typing. Thesis statement, it'd be nice if I could spell too, that would be nice. Thesis statement is clear, concise, and I don't know, something else. And sophisticated. Okay, so now what I kind of like to do is I just copy this and then I copy and paste it into each of these, and then I decide what the criteria is going to look like, right? Thesis statement is maybe clear and concise for meeting standards, but it's not sophisticated. And then maybe the thesis statement here is unclear or confusing. And then this one might say there is no thesis statement, or a thesis statement is not present, okay, or whatever it is. So this would be, these are the criteria that I'm looking at for my thesis statement for this particular paper, whatever it is. You'll see up here the percentages is what do we want to grade the student on for this particular criteria. So if they have a clear, concise thesis statement and it's sophisticated, I'm going to give them 100. If they're meeting standards, let's say it's going to be an 85. If they're approaching standards, maybe it's a 70, a 75, okay? And then, not 775, 75. And then let's say anything not competent would be 65, okay? Now, again, you decide these numbers. These are numbers that, you know, you have to decide with your class and what you feel is appropriate for non-competent or approaching standards or whatever you have labeled there. And the other thing you want to look at is how much weight do you want to give to this thesis statement? So maybe I'm only giving 15% weight to my thesis statement, okay? And then I look down here, again, just like the category weights in our gradebook, this will tell me how much weight I have. If I want to balance weights, that means I make everything equal. So grammar, organization, thesis statement, they're all equal weights. They're all going to be 25%. But I don't like to do that. I like to decide, you know, for myself which one is which. So let's say I want to make organization 40% because we worked a lot on that. And let's say I want to make the grammar, you know, 35%, okay? And now I know how much I have left. My total weight down here says 90, so I can only make MLA formatting 10% unless I want to reduce some of the weights, category weights on the other items, okay? And so you'll do this for each section, right? I'm just going to copy paste all this stuff in here so it has everything filled, just so it looks like I've made a beautiful rubric for you. And, you know, again, the language is yours. You can decide what you want to do with it, what you want it to say, how much percentage-wise, what score students will get for each one. Now, because these are all like 0% up here, it won't let me do that. So I'll have to change the percentages to make sure that they're each the same. So whatever I decided, 85, 75. And I think I can leave 0%. Let's see. I don't ever usually give zeros. Kind of 50 is my limit. Okay, so let's just see what happens for this rubric. Okay, so my weights are balanced. Okay, it has 100%. I have everything over here filled in, my grammar, my MLA formatting. Now, if I decide at the last minute, oh my gosh, you know, I forgot about in-text citations, I can add this row, okay, and it's going to be new row 5. And I'm going to edit it to say, you know, citations, whatever that is, or whatever you want to add, okay? And save it. The really important thing you want to make sure is if you leave it like this with a 0 weight, that won't go in the rubric at all. So let's say I'm going to make this 5%. Now it's going to tell me I'm over. See if I look at that total weight. Now I'm over to 105%. I'm going to go back down here and go 5% to switch to MLA formatting. And now I'm back at 100%, okay? And then if I say, no, never mind, I don't want that, I can delete the row and bring this right back to 10%. Okay, so now I'm going to submit this. Oh, one cell must be equal to 100. I forgot about that. Okay. I'm going to submit this. And now I have my discussion board rubric. Now, later on, I'll talk to you guys about how to import this rubric. You don't have to make this rubric for every class. So if you're using a discussion board rubric for multiple classes, you can import it and move it to other classes so that you don't have to keep typing this over and over and over again. And you can move it from semester to semester so you don't have to keep doing it over and over again, okay? So I'm gonna just go to my discussion board. okay? And I want to show you how to actually use the rubric. So I'm going to create a forum, okay? And I'm going to call it the test forum, just because I can. And I'm going to write no description because we're trying to do this in the interest of time, okay? Right where it says here, most of you know how to use discussion boards already. I'm going to grade it, okay? So I am going to grade the discussion board forum, and I'm going to allow them to have up to 100 points, okay? Now I'm going to make the due date, let's say Wednesday, okay, at 11:59 p.m. Here is where I can add the rubric. So I'm going to go to select rubric, okay? I'm sure you can't see this pop up, but there's a list of rubrics in my course that I can use. I would click on the discussion board rubric, okay, and then click submit. And now you'll see right down here that this is going to be used for grading. You have the option here to show it to students or not. I always show it to students so they know what to expect. So yes, with the rubric scores, so they can see what the expectations are. All this other stuff doesn't matter right now, and I'm going to submit it, okay? And when I go to grade this test forum, I'm going to go into student preview just for a minute so I can do a mock-up for you. Okay. So let me go to discussion board, and let me go to the test forum, and let me create a thread, okay, that says test. There you go, whatever it says. And then I'm writing test here. Okay, and I'm submitting it. That's my assignment for today. Okay, so preview user has done that. Now I'm going to go back to instructor view. Okay. And when you go to grade this, it's going to make your life so much easier. So I'm going to go down here to my grade center. Okay. And I mentioned this before in the grade center assignment. You can go to the full grade center. It'll tell you that somebody has handed something in if you're looking at a specific assignment, or you can just go here to the needs grading section and you'll see, oh, here Robolato has submitted something for me to grade. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to see her assignment. Okay. Now in this grading area, you see this spot where it says grade by rubric. I can click on this discussion board rubric and I can show the description. And as I'm grading it, I can go right in here and say, oh, she has a beautiful thesis statement, fantastic. Her organization could be better, but okay, it's meeting standards. The grammar is atrocious. The MLA formatting is proficient. And now when I save this rubric, okay, it's automatically going to assign a grade based on my rubric. So the grade is already there. I don't have to do anything. I just click those check mark boxes and then I can provide my feedback. This is great, or whatever I want to say. Okay, and then submit it and the student has been graded. Okay, the rubrics I find have made grading so much easier and so much less subjective. All the rubric material is there. You can click on it as you're grading. It makes everything go so much faster. And I tried this with my research paper last semester, and you know how long that takes to grade. But with that built-in rubric and being able to see all the descriptions on the rubric there, right on the computer, and checking it off, it's a paper-free, hassle-free way to grade your students. So I hope this was helpful to you.